This video is chock-a-block with spoilers, but if you're watching this, you've probably already seen the movie. I try not to add to the clutter that is on the internet. With a lot of very knowledgeable channels out there, I try to avoid saying something that somebody else has already said. But I feel like there's a very simple thing that I've never heard anybody else say, so I'm going to stick my toes into dangerous waters. This is my fix for the latest James Bond film, No Time to Die. No Time to Die is one of the most derided movies in James Bond's 64-year film history. The series' tone has bounced all over the map, even more than James Bond has himself.
How about demonstration, boy?
Certainly, sir.
Some people love their From Russia with Love, other people love their Moonraker. One joy of being a Bond fan is comparing opinions with other opposing fans. Many smart people follow this franchise with a vengeance, but very few people unequivocally loved No Time to Die. I see a lot of strengths in the film, and I'd like to offer a very basic twist to set it back on track. The problems Bond fans have with this movie, reductively, are three. Number one, the villain Safin is completely uninteresting, and some of his motives are a little vague. Number two, Bond has a kid. Number three, Bond dies. Well, there's a fourth complaint about Nomi being the new 007, but that really seems to me like reactionary media fury, and not an actual appraisal of Lashana Lynch's intriguing portrayal as the new kid who's kicking against her famous predecessor's reputation. And mostly I think that was great. As for point number one, not every Bond villain soars. One of my favorite films, The Spy Who Loved Me, has a completely forgettable villain. And just like Safin in No Time to Die, in Act 3, Karl Stromberg suddenly, inexplicably becomes a horn dog and kidnaps an otherwise capable Bond girl. As for point two, Bond may have had a kid in the books, and was briefly married in earlier films. I like Léa Seydoux, but Madeleine Swann, what a stupid and meaningless reference to Marcel Proust. Please go back to names like
Honey, writer.
Plenty O'Toole.
Tiffany Case.
And you're Miss Stephanie Broadchester, yeah?
I am not.
What's so funny about it?
Nothing. It's a very pretty name.
Anyhow, Madeleine Swann was unexciting in Spectre and modestly better in No Time to Die. She's simply no Countess Tracy. Having her as the end-all be-all of Bond girls feels unearned. It's the combo of weak chemistry plus daughter that makes it a problem. If you'd had a daughter with Tracy, or even Agent XXX, or Moneypenny even, I'd have bought it. Okay, Moneypenny would have been a bit problematic, but at least they have chemistry. Bond dying isn't really that big of a deal for me. Blofeld has died 2 or 3 times, and Leiter had his legs chewed off by a shark.
I got better.
The real problem is the combination. Bond dies because of a weak villain. Nobody cares about Rami Malek's Safin. And then that's nothing against Rami Malek. But Safin kills the hero with a rabid, if unusually respectful, fandom. Again, they didn't really earn it, but they could have, easily. And here's how. Kill Safin. You can keep the whole first half of the film intact. Safin appears to be the new big bad, sneaking into Mr. White's cabin and getting shot by little Madeleine. Maybe you don't have him kill Mrs. White. The whole L'Américaine sequence of Spectre would have carried more weight if she had simply broken Mr. White's heart and vanished. Years later, Bond and Madeleine are happy, but she gets framed by Blofeld for an attempt on Bond's life, which is especially weird since Blofeld's still in prison.
It's Blofeld, my love. Your father would be so proud of you.
Bond packs Madeleine off, just like in the movie, hides out in Jamaica, and is approached by both MI6 and the CIA about doing a Cuba job. Goes to Cuba, where he meets with Paloma, who incidentally, Ana de Armas, is one of the brightest lights of this whole film, and witnesses the entirety of Spectre being massacred with a weapon that had been created for Bond, but was subverted by Safin, just like in the movie. By the way, Hugh Dennis, keep him.
It has to be said that in a film called No Time to Die, it is rather disappointing to die.
So far, the original film is working perfectly. Blofeld has made 2 eerie remote attempts on Bond's life, and Safin is a shadowy character who haunts Madeleine's dreams and for some reason hates Spectre more than Bond does. Cool, kill off Cyclops here. His switching from Spectre to Safin really makes no sense and doesn't really add anything to the rest of the movie. Also, don't kill off Felix. Nobody has been better in the role than Jeffrey Wright, and this would have left an out for Eon to continue the series with the same excellent MI6 cast and the same lighter, with the new Bond, just as they did with Judi Dench carrying on from Brosnan to Craig. That's just me. I have an aversion to fridging. It damages my ranking in movies like Goldfinger, Quantum of Solace, and Moonraker. But here's where I pull out my scissors. Cut most of what happens in London. Making the Heracles disaster all M's fault serves really no purpose. Making Madeleine Blofeld's psychologist is just as dumb as making Blofeld Bond's brother, and I hate that. Yet all the banter between Bond and the MI6 team, including the new 007, is tremendously fun, so I would keep that somehow.
You know, they come with fur these days.
There's too many great actors to waste. However, instead of the dumb sequence where Bond and Madeleine visit Blofeld's cell, have Safin infiltrate the prison in disguise. He gains access to Blofeld, the very last member of Spectre he has yet to kill. Safin looks like he's going to supersede Blofeld as the greatest Bond villain in history. Face to face in the cell, Safin reveals to Blofeld and the audience that he killed Spectre for the murder of his own family and has returned to take revenge. Safin underestimates Blofeld, who kills Safin, leaves his corpse behind in the cell, and escapes the prison in Safin's disguise. Safin is just a red herring for the first half of the film. Blofeld retains his role as Bond's chief enemy, and he flies to the Poison Island to reclaim his property. The island staff docilely accept Blofeld's dominance, and he's set to rebuild his criminal empire with the potent weapon of this virus island. Informed by M about the connection between Madeleine and Safin, Bond heads to Norway to confront her. Keep all the family stuff, I got no problem there. I think I just shaved 20 minutes off the film though, which is overly long. Blofeld's men attack Bond and Madeleine in Norway. They're unable to capture Bond, but like in the actual film, they manage to separate Bond from Madeleine and their daughter. The two are taken to the Poison Island as bait. Bond and Nomi follow, and the rest of the film plays out pretty much as it currently stands. They infiltrate the island, Bond has a showdown with Blofeld. You could even keep the line from the novels if you're a Fleming purist. Madeleine and the kid are rescued by Bond and Nomi. Now either Bond dies, which I'm fine with as long as it's Blofeld who kills him, and not some boring, treacherous, backstabbing squabble in a pond, or Bond escapes and we have a happy ending, sending Craig off into the sunset with his family.
Madeleine, Mathilde,
Whatever, it's fiction. The decision to kill Bond was insisted on by Craig as star and producer. That's his business. But having a boring, muddled psychopath we've never heard of, who's already won, and just needs to settle down on his poison virus island and chill out, and he suddenly gets obsessed with some girl who shot him once, and somehow gets obsessed with Bond as well. I mean, it's all stupid. In the previous film, they built up Blofeld as not just Bond's nemesis, but also his near brother. Which I also hate, and it would simply make more sense if the big bad, the puppet master and ultimate threat was
Ernst von Blofeld.
Now that's my 2 cents. Take them or leave them. The great thing about the Bond community is that there are so many smart, opinionated people. We love to rank these movies, we nitpick, but we stay classy, just like the glorious, blunt instrument that inspires us, James Bond.